Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So on today's video, we're gonna go over this new tool I got for the garage. It's a Diagnostic OBD2 reader that does all the special functions for over 150 cars or 150 makes of cars and thousands of cars actually that are all OBD2 and up that have special features and everything. So this thing costs about 300 bucks and it does all of that diagnostics for all these vehicles. So this Kingbolen K7 scan tool is a very professional tool, and it's actually designed for professionals because it does over 150 different models of vehicles, and it's able to pretty much access everything as far as OBD diagnostics, as well as the other menus and features of the actual vehicles. What we have here is it comes in this nice carrying case because it assumes you're in a shop environment, so you got this carrying case to kind of keep it. It comes with a serial number and your password to log into it, so you can get all the access to the subscriptions and different software that is a lifetime updatable device, because once you connect it to Wi-Fi, every time Kingbolen or the manufacturer updates the firmware or updates the models and stuff, they'll push an update to the device. Inside the box, it comes with the silica packs to keep it dry. You can toss those when you're done. It does come with a charger with various adapters for worldwide usage. For most people, this thing's kind of huge. It's a regular USB-A to USB-C, which is the cable that it comes with. You can use just a regular USB-C charge because that's what it has on the actual device itself. As for the actual device, it comes with this OBD2 plug here. It's a wireless device, so you're going to go ahead and plug this into the vehicle. It gets powered by the vehicle, this side of it. It'll automatically connect to this device because that's what it's programmed to out of the factory. As far as the device goes, it's a pretty rugged device designed for the shop environment because it's got all this hard plastic in case you drop it. It's got two little screw things right there, most likely to put a hook or something for a lanyard, so you could wear this around your neck or your shoulder so you don't drop it in the shop. It has a regular on-off button to manually turn it on and off. The bottom here is your connections for USB. It has USB-C and it has a USB-A output. Once you turn the device on, you basically go through the whole steps of selecting your country, inputting your serial number, connecting to Wi-Fi to make sure that you have a data connection to the internet. In normal usage, you don't need an internet connection. It's really for the updates and if you want to email anything. One thing I noticed, it does come with a camera on it. So as you do a diagnostics, you can actually take photos and store it on the memory on here in case you need it for some reason. But I've already gone through all the setup and everything. So once you do that, you get into this menu. And then once you plug up everything, you have the scan, the regular OBD2. So scanning the vehicle usually pulls up the actual software for the vehicle. And then the OBD is just the standard onboard diagnostics. So as you go through the menus, obviously, you scan everything. You go ahead and go into reset, and you can reset a bunch of different devices depending on the vehicle that you're working with. You go into repair videos or repair information and pull up a browser, looking up diagnostics and other stuff like that using their web browser. You can look up your OBD codes. So like, for example, you can look up any codes that you might know right off the bat. So let's go 0012. That's a common one that right now that you see. You can look that up and it'll tell you exactly what it is. So to give you that diagnostic information right there. Under modules, I think they sell some aftermarket or some accessories with this device. So you could hook up a battery tester to it and test your batteries. I think it's a Bluetooth connection. You could hook up an oscilloscope using the USB connections, or you can even hook up a video scope on there, which is like an endoscope or something to look down stuff. So you can hook onto that. You can scan for wireless printers on your network and print stuff from here. So overall, just looking at it on the bench and opening it up, one of the first things I noticed is the nice quality screen it has. It's a very high resolution screen, similar to like your modern tablets and iPhones, compared to some of the other launch tool and other devices that I've gotten from the same manufacturer. Those have older screens with lower resolution. This one is a high resolution screen that shows a lot of detail and depth, and just reading the text and everything is pretty comfortable for your eyes. So we'll go ahead, put in the OBD2 wireless reader right into the OBD port. So just get the orientation correct and go ahead and just insert it. You'll hear a beep and the light will blink, knowing that it has power. Once you do that, you go ahead, turn it on. Once everything's booted up and you're connected, you can go ahead, either go to OBD2 just to scan it. It's going to try to connect to the dongle. So once it goes into there, it's going to go and just read basically everything that's on the OBD2. Every time you get out of it, it does that beeping to remind you to take the dongle out. So you go ahead and just scan. And in here, you could just have it automatically scan, which is auto search, or if you know your device or your vehicle, you can manually plug it in. So go ahead and scan your VIN number here and just figure out what make and model that you have. So once it figures out we have a 2008 Lexus GX 470, it basically goes into that mode. So in here, it lets you choose between a GX and an LX, because it probably uses the same ECU and the same stuff, so it doesn't know the difference. And then it goes into here, so you can just hit OK. And then once you go into here, it's going to start scanning the vehicle and getting all the data out of it. So once you get to this screen, you could run the whole health report, or you could do individual system scans. The health report is going to scan everything in the vehicle and give you all the codes and everything that's stored in here that it has. So right now I know I have a P0012 code on this that I've been trying to diagnose and fix, so that's always going to pop up. So for this vehicle, it's going to take about a minute to get through all the systems. We're about 60-70% right now, and we're 40 seconds in. So right now, like I said, we have that one code right here, which is the P0012. Once the vehicle runs the diagnostics, you can go ahead and scroll through and view it on here. If you want to keep record of it, you go ahead and go through the whole creating a report process. This turns it into an actual PDF, which you could actually email to yourself so you can see it on the computer, or just keep record of it for diagnostics later. So this is a pretty slick way of documenting everything, especially if you're in a shop environment. So if you know what you want to scan or which computer you go manual select, and you can just select. So right now I want to go into the engine mode, and in here I can read the fault code, I can read the data stream, I could test the actuation. So I've been using this to test my VVTi system, and I go into here. You can monitor or not monitor the data. So let's say I want to monitor what it's doing. I can select the VVTi solenoid control, angle, aim, and then hit OK. And then in here, once I turn on the actuator, I can see the angle change and the degrees that it's trying to aim. So right now, that's testing my VVTi solenoid, and it's working correctly for bank 1, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off. So if I do the same for bank 2, I'll do it without the monitoring. It won't bring up anything. I'll just go ahead and turn that on. And you can hear the engine trying to stall out because it's advancing the timing right now. And if I turn that off, it's gonna go back to the retard on the timing. In this next menu, we actually go through the customizations on here. So these are your Lexus personalized settings, and you can set a bunch of different things. So this first menu right here is for the door lock. So as you can see, we can scroll through here, change the buzzer volume. We can change the wireless control, turning that on and off. You can set your unlock operations, the number of times you press the button, the auto lock time if you forget to open the door or unlock it. The next thing we have here is the door locks and how they react to your in and out of park, to your speed and auto locking, as well as shift locking and all that. These are little lock settings and all that that some people like to change based on how they want their doors locked. So here's another setting for power windows that some people may or may not know they have. So you can actually roll down your windows with the key in the hole on the door handle, or you can hold the unlock button on your remote and have it basically open all your windows and your sunroof. Some people like to turn it off just in case they accidentally roll down their windows though. So as mentioned earlier, since this thing's wireless, we go into the garage where it's nice and cool and not sit in the car, and we can go through all the menus wirelessly because we're in here. So like the wiper controls, we have the rewipe control where you can adjust those settings if you wanted to. Your seat settings, so if you have memory seats and all that, you could have this thing pretty much set all that, as you can change those settings. So for the GX470, one of the settings that you want to do is if you want to turn off those DRLs on here, which basically melt your turn signals on this vehicle, you go ahead and go into the light settings and turn that off permanently. I've already got mine turned off. In addition, mine are actually off because I did that flasher relay mod on here using a 4Runner harness. If you saw my video on that, I show you exactly how to do that mod. So other things that you have in here are the service functions. You go into there, you can set your different things like your ABS and all that stuff by going into the service settings. You could bleed that, you could reset your oil, you could relearn your electronic throttle, you could reset your TPMS if you wanted to, you could register new ones, which I already did recently when I replaced all 5 of them on this vehicle. In this next menu, we go into the TPMS, and you could go ahead and select all the data streams coming from here. And as you load these things, you can see the battery voltage, if it's over, under, or regular. You can see the pressure reading from each of the sensors, and you can scroll down and see the temperature. Once you scroll all the way down, you can see if you're on the main set or the secondary set, as well as the codes for each one of your sensors in case you need to write those things down. To go ahead and set like your keys and your remote, you go into the body control module. You can go into here to special features. You can erase your remotes. You could put in new remotes. For your immobilizer, for your new keys, you go into immobilizer here, and then special functions. And here you could erase your keys and program new keys. So the next vehicle we're going to test this on is the Toyota Sienna. So again, we go down here, find the OBD2 port, plug in our dongle right there, and then we'll boot this thing up once we start the engine and run the diagnostics and features on this vehicle. We plugged that into the vehicle, we left it out here in the driveway, and we're in the garage, and we'll go ahead and just hit the auto search, let this thing figure out that it's a 15 Sienna, and pull everything up automatically. So it discovered it's a 15 Toyota Sienna, so it goes into here, and then we'll just go ahead again, let it automatically search and connect to the vehicle. So once it gets in there, there's a few features that you have to select, like no radar cruise, with smart key, and then it goes and gets all that stuff, and then we go ahead and hit this. Once we go in here, we can run the same health report. It's going to scan it for about a minute just to get all the information about this thing and see if there's any codes. A lot of the modules that is not present in here, it ends up not showing a check mark because it's not an option on this vehicle. So once it's finished scanning, you can hit the report, and it'll actually save this report, and you can put it, it basically stores it. It gives you everything that you need to know. You can email it to yourself, and it'll tell you everything that's wrong with it, if there's any codes or anything like that. So right now, yeah, that's weird that it's showing monitor disconnected on the navigation system because it's not. So again, once we go into here, we could select the service functions and all that other stuff, and it'll pull up things that you can adjust, fix, or reset. So in here you can see there's a gearbox relearn, there's the TPMS registration, there's the ABS bleeding, oil change reminder, that's an easy one. AC system relearn, I didn't even know that was a thing, but it looks like they have that option. Looks like really it's a server modo. Here it looks like you can reset codes, you can reset the memory, and you can reset any diagnostic codes. We can go into the customized menus here and adjust any adjustable features in here, like turning on your hood pin if you have a hood pin. You could also turn on your glass break sensor if you have that, and any other security stuff. Here's all the customizable settings in here that you can do. One of the things, if you have daytime running lights, you can disable those, which on this vehicle I think you could do it in the navigation screen and the infotainment system too, but you can also do it here. On here, there's a daytime running light function right here. You can see the headlights. We've got the SE model, so we got the headlight daytime running lights. I could go ahead and just turn those off right now. Let's hit that. We went ahead and set it off. Once I turned it off, the headlights turned off right there. I go ahead and set that on again. Once we turn it back on again, the DRLs come right back on. One of the other functions that a lot of people want to do, especially if they have an older vehicle and only came with one key, is programming new smart keys. So under here, you have to go to Start and Entry, or Entry and Start, ES module, go under Special Function, and then here you can register new keys, you can erase existing keys, and go through all that. So if you have a new version key and an original key, you go into this menu and basically erase everything and reset new keys to it if you need to. But overall, very good functionality if you're just trying to diagnose things. There's a lot of menus in here that you have to kind of scroll through and play around with for all the different body control modules and other system modules in the vehicle to diagnose. All right, we'll go ahead and plug this into the IS300, find the OBD2 port. This one has a cover. You have to undo that one. So on the IS300, we'll go ahead and auto search. Since this is a 2002, I'm not sure it's gonna be able to identify it because it doesn't have the VIN number encoded into the ECU. Just as suspected, we got a failed VIN number like I suspected. So for this one, we'll just go ahead and manually search it so we know it's a Lexus, and then we'll just go ahead and just select 2002 IS300, and then it will connect once you do that. So in here, we'll do the same thing. We'll run a health report, and it's gonna run all the modules and get us any information or any codes that are on these modules, which for my particular car, pretty much there's not gonna be much. I think I have 2 AC codes, a solar sensor, and then air intake damper servo control. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. The solar circuit, I think that one always happens because it shows passenger side, but there's not a passenger side sensor on this. It's only on the driver's side. Because when I test it, all my servos, they actually work because I'm diverting it. I'm diverting it down. I'm turning on the defrost window, so it all moves. So I don't have any issues with that. Again, you could pretty much do your whole report. It'll report everything out. It'll show all that's wrong with it, and then you could email that to yourself in a PDF, or you could print it right there on that button. So we go in here, look at customizations that we have on this one. So since this is an 02, there wasn't really much back then as far as customizations. I could set the different wireless door lock options on here. I could set the security and the window controls, but other than that, it's really all you have in here. So the door locks, like hitting it twice or once with your key to unlock all doors. On security, you could turn on and off the security system on here, on the passive security. So that's usually off, because what I don't want to do is leave that on, especially I leave this in the garage and then I open the door and it goes off. On this one, under light control, is really just sensitivity and then the light control type, using your stock and your all that stuff on the side here, and the delay time. So others, there's probably nothing in other on this one. Nope. Wiper controls, again, I don't think there's much on these for wiper controls. So once we get into here, you could actually manually select the systems under system selection here. And if you know what you're gonna work on, like your body control module, you just go straight into there and see all the special functions that you can do here, the actuator test and all that. So in here I can, on the body control, I can erase and register new keys, the wireless part of the keys, to do the wireless, to do keyless entry and trunk release and all that stuff. You can do actuator tests to test if your buzzer, your hazards and all that stuff works on here. So you can hit, like for hazard, I can go into here, I can go ahead and do it without monitoring it, and then I can go turn it on, and then the system is blinking that without me pushing the button. So if I hit off, it turns it off. So those are just various things that you can test manually in here. If you want to program new keys and you have a master key or even a valet key, you go into a mobilizer, into here, and then go to special function, and you can register new keys. You can erase all your keys, you erase all the missing keys. One of the other things under combination meter, that's your gauge cluster. You can go in here and you can actually test all your lights to make sure they all work and no one took a light bulb out or any of that stuff. So you can go into this actuator test in here. So inside the actuator test, I can test the speedometer. I can set it to different settings to make sure that it's reading correctly on here. Same with the tachometer. We go into here, I can adjust with this button to go up and just change the tachometer readings. It goes up by every 1,000 or so every time I hit it. Aside from that, you could control the fuel, water temperature, and all the other temperatures on here too. But yeah, all these different features I've gone over before on one of my older videos with the launch tool, but it can access the exact same menus and exact same tools using this particular scan tool. So as you can see, that's just for Lexus and Toyota, but as you scroll through here, you see all the other brands and vehicles that you can scan. In the future, when I'm actually driving some of these vehicles as my rental cars, I'll go ahead and bring this along with me and kind of do the same to see what features and stuff that we can see on other vehicles like Fords and GM vehicles and Hondas and all that. But right now, all I have is Toyota and Lexus vehicles in my garage, so that's really all I can test this on and show you this on. Hey guys, thanks for joining me all the way to the end of this video on reviewing that new diagnostic tool I got for the garage and for all my vehicles. As you can see, it's a kind of an overkill for what I have. Some of the other tools I've used in the past, and even the smaller ones that actually use the app, do just as good of a job, but this one is more versatile because I can do other vehicles like Hondas, Nissans, Fords, Chevys, whatever. In the future, when I'm actually out driving rental vehicles and stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and bring that along. I'll record a video or two just updating the use of that on other vehicles that I drive, especially when I'm traveling for work and I drive different rental cars all over the country. If you guys need the same product or some of the other products I've used in the past for Diagnostics and OBD2, go ahead and check the links down in the description. I'll have a link to that on Amazon and wherever I got these. If you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to your channel, go ahead and subscribe to your channel. Turn on bell notifications to get notified every time I upload a video. For all these different projects, if I can do it, you guys can do it. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time.